Positive Gains podcast. Today, my special guest, Actor Noel G. Most people might hit him up as Hector, but for this interview, I'm gonna call him Noel. Noel, what's up, man?
What's cracking, man? How you guys doing out there, family? It's your boy Noel G. What up? What up? Man, it's a blessing to be here, dog. Thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you making time. And it's funny, man. This is kind of like memory lane, we'll call it. You and I first met 9 years ago back in our little tiny town here in the Gila Valley. Victory Fellowship. You were down there promoting a movie, Ditch Party.
Oh man, that's you took me way back, dog. You took me back to when I was doing silent film.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
you, Steve Villegas, Ringo. You guys came down and I think you stayed the weekend and promoted the film, took pictures and all that.
Yeah. It was actually one of the first films that I did with my production company that we just kind of got up off the ground. It was based on some true facts, but long story short, man, that film was a blessing because it kind of kickstarted our company into doing more stuff. So, and that film's available. If anyone wants to check it out, it's on Amazon Prime, it's on Hulu, it's pretty much on everything but Netflix. So if you get a chance, peep it out. It got a crazy little twist to it. It's a thriller. So I hope you guys all get to check it out. It's a little Halloween joint at the same time. So, but yeah, man, it was a blessing to be able to do that flick.
And was that production company, was that the same company that funded that movie you guys made with Rampage as well?
Yeah, that's my production company.
Okay.
So we're the ones who in the progress of making our third one right now. It's a documentary. So, we got some things we got some things cooking in the oven right now. You know what I'm saying?
I'd say most people probably were introduced to you, I would think, I would say probably the Fast and the Furious. Um, so many years ago, right? You played Hector. That's when you got introduced. It's turning a cult classic. I mean, there's so many films that are made after it now. How did you get into the Fast and the Furious?
Fast and Furious, man. I had a manager at the time. Long story short, they called me in for an interview. And it's kind of crazy because when you walk into this interview, you walk in to a room with like 50 people that look like you. And you're sitting there like, what am I going to do to stand out to make myself different? And long story short, what happens is an agent slash manager, they get with their what's called a breakdown sheet. And a breakdown sheet is like, hey, we're looking for the role of Hector, Mexican, Latino from the streets, born in East LA, hood, and like a street racer type guy. So the agent or manager will be like, oh, I got someone who looks like that. I got someone who fits the bill, whatever. So they call me or they call whoever their client is that fits that bill, and then they send them out on an interview. So long story short, I had a manager. I go out on this, whatever, and it was kind of crazy because I walk into a room once again with like 50 people who look like me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, how am I gonna like kind of get ahead here to like stick out to be the one. You know what I'm saying? And then it hit me. I said, I know what everyone's gonna do. Everyone's gonna walk the room and they're gonna be polite. Everyone's going to walk in the room and they're going to say, thank you so much for having me audition. It's a pleasure meeting you. And I got to do something different. So I was looking at the script and it said the words dude and bro. And that was my catch right there. So what I did was I walked in and I said, hey, Mexicans don't talk like that from the streets, man. We don't say dude and bro. So I go, when you guys write this script right, I go, you guys let me know. And I threw the script on the floor and I walked out. And they said, whoa, come back here. So I came back and they were like, where you from? And I was like telling them what's up. And I was like, yeah, man, when you guys write the script right, whatever. I didn't say it like that, but I pretty much said, like, we don't talk like that. If you want something authentic and real, I said, let me do it my way. So they were like, do it your way. So I did it my way. I flavored it up. I was like, what's up, SA? Where you from, dog? I was like, yeah, saying the slang. And they were like, man, I didn't even get to my car, homie, outside the parking lot. My manager called me up. They were like, I don't know what you did in there, but they like you. And they're very interested in you for the part. And I said, all right, cool. Long story short, I ended up getting the part. I just had to find a way to stick out, to be different from all the other people who, were up for the role. You know what I'm saying? So that's how Fast and the Furious went down.
And that's not even top, man. I mean, just doing it on the fly, like you said, looking around the room and trying to figure out a way to stick out. I mean, that's pretty impressive and then pretty gutsy, right? To tell these guys basically that this isn't the way that it should go down and for them to take that feedback on the fly, that's pretty impressive, man. My next thing with the movie, so you land the role, you're shooting. Did you think that that movie was gonna be big when you were shooting it, or did you think this might just be another job for me?
Now, at the time, that was the only job for me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hold up, dog. But nah, when we did that movie, it was an independent film, and we didn't think it was going to be as big as it was. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about that flick that I really like is it broke a lot of barriers, a lot of walls down. Because what I mean by that is, like, it was the first movie ever, or one of the first movies. I take that back. One of the first movies ever to have white, blacks, Latino, and Asian people in the same film, and they
Wow.
were all in it for the heart of the cars. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of things, bro. Like, we didn't know how the movie was gonna do. When we first did that film, it was actually an independent film. And long story short, they didn't know how it was gonna do. But the gamble worked, it took off, and it ended up becoming one of the biggest franchises in the world. And now they're making part 11. No, I was just saying, right now they're making part 11. And every distribution company has like its golden nugget. So, like, for example, Warner Brothers is Harry Potter's. What Warner Brothers, no movie that Warner Brothers has ever done has ever made more money than Harry Potter for Warner Brothers. Long story short, Universal is Fast and Furious. Universal, any movie that it's ever done has not made them more money than Fast and Furious.
Wow.
So it's kind of crazy to think, like, that's that it broke down. You know what I'm saying? Like, for it to be like, for them to be on part 11, and and then to have a roller coaster in Universal and all the stuff, all the merchandise, like, it's crazy insane to just see where it was at, to see where it's gone, to see where it's going.
Well, you're on set, you're working. Imagine this is probably what 2000, 2001. What was it
This
like?
was, yeah, 2001 is when we filmed Fast One.
Okay. What was it like working with Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, Michelle Rodriguez, that entire bunch?
Well, you got to remember, man, when we first did the film, everybody was kind of known but not known. You know what I'm saying? It's Fast and the Furious that put they were already on the map, but what I'm saying is Fast and the Furious is what put them on the map. You know what I'm saying? And so at that time, man, it was just hanging out. It was like getting paid to party. Everybody was cool, humble, chill. It was funny, man. When we were filming, I was like, damn, are we filming a movie here or what? Because it just felt like everyone's hanging out. Like, literally, when Fast and the Furious says it's family, it's family. Because we were straight up just kicking it. We were just chilling. It didn't feel like we were filming a movie. It was really cool experience, man. So to work with all of it, and then the truth of it is, dog, when you just meet whoever on TV or off TV, people are just people. You know what I'm saying? When you meet them, they're chill, they're cool, they're just humble cats. You know what I'm saying? So it was a blessing to work with all these people at that time, to now see, where they're at now today. You know what I mean? And so, but me, I don't get all like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, I don't care if you the one washing the windows on the building or own the building. I'm gonna treat everybody the same. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So to me, long story short, they were all cool. They were all chill. Everybody was just, they were just kicked back and whatever, just having a good time filming a movie, and excited at the same time, that we actually in the mix of this thing.
And did that movie propel you into getting Training Day?
Yeah, it was kind of after that I kind of, quote unquote, started getting known, as, quote unquote, one of the bad guy Latinos in Hollywood, is what I call it. And long story short, man, that's where the career started taking off. But yeah, Fast and Furious was a big part of the liftoff in my career.
And so yeah, that movie, Training Day, man. I tell people I laugh because I didn't get to watch it right away. I'm a little younger, so my mom wasn't. She's a big Denzel fan. She was a big one, but she wasn't having it right away. She was like, you know what, that movie, I love Denzel, but I don't like the way they had him, like that. And basically, it's just too much for you right now. You're not gonna watch it. I think it came out. I was 11 or 12, so I had to wait for it to come on TV. But when it was on TV, man, it's one of my favorites. I loved it. Um, Same thing, man. So like that movie's probably more in depth, right? I mean, you guys are imagine shooting all over LA. I'm not sure about your particular scene, if that was in an actual house or if it was on a studio somewhere. If you want to talk about that experience working on that film.
On training day, right? Yeah, training day was on location and off location. So a lot of people don't know this. The inside of the house was a sound studio. The outside of the house was a real house. So everything that we filmed inside with the bathtub scene, the kitchen, all that, that was all a sound studio. It was a sound stage that we were working on, and it was a built set.
Oh, okay.
So working on that film, it was also really, really crazy to be a part of that film because you got my boy Denzel Washington in the house.
Yeah.
And, to work around professionals, man, and see them work and see how they prepare. And there was times Denzel was really cool, but there were times where you could approach him, and then there were times you couldn't approach him. And you just got to know, you just had to know when to do it and when not to do it, when he was in character, when he was in mode, and when he was really getting down doing his thing. You had to know when to give him his space and when not to. You feel what I'm saying? So, long story short, man, to be in that film, you got to bring your A game, is what I'm getting at. So I had to come fully prepared. I had to know my lines. I had to actually sleep on time the night before, even though I didn't. But long story short, man, I say there's no better teacher than being on the battlefield itself. And so being right there, getting to watch them prepare slash see it in my face was one of the best teachings I've ever had in my life that helped me in my acting game. So there was a lot of experiences and a lot of gold nuggets that I took home with that film that have helped me to this day on what to do and what not to do on a set. And, just to be prepared and ready to go to work. And, when it's go time, it's go time. You feel me?
I believe the guy that wrote Training Day was David Ayers, right?
Yes, sir. That's my boy right there. Shout out to David Ayer, man. That guy's climbing up the ladder. Like, well, he's already up the ladder, but that guy is spitting out movies left and right, man. He got new stuff coming out, popping off. I've been very blessed by David Ayer. He put me in 5 of his joints. Very good personal friend of mine, man. So shout out to David Ayer if you're watching this, bro. But yeah, much love, man. Because David Ayer, he's a real one. If he uses you, he remembers you, and if he can use you again, he'll use you again.
And how long did it take you guys to shoot that bathroom scene in the film?
8 days.
8 days. Is that including the card game as well?
Everything, the whole deal, the whole joint. We're talking about the outside where they walk up to the inside. The inside took 7 days, and the outside scene we shot in 1 day. So it took 8 days total to film that whole scene right there. So a lot of people don't know this. I trip out sometimes. It's kind of funny because in the acting game, sometimes it can take, a week to shoot a 3-minute scene.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And people don't know that. But because of all the different angles and all the different shots you got to get in the close-ups, and then you got the editing, it's a long time. It's a tedious process, and I laugh sometimes because sometimes I got people that are like, take me to set, take me to set. And I'm like, yeah. And then they come to set. They're like, let me go home. Let me go home. Because they find out how boring it is when they thought it was going to be all fun. And I'm like, nah, fool, I thought you wanted to come hang out. You here now. Let's do it.
And how about like earlier you mentioned improvising early on, with the Fast and the Furious. Did they let you do that on Training Day? Were you allowed to improvise?
Yeah, they let you improvise pretty much in any movie that you're in. They pretty much let you improvise. They pretty much don't care, man. If you are in a film, you can improvise. A lot of as long as you don't go way off the script and write a whole new movie. You know what I'm saying? they let you improvise. You know, TV shows is where they're a little more strict. They hammer down a little bit more, and you can't improvise as much. But with films, you pretty much always have free reign.
So I mean, in my opinion, after that, you're kind of riding the top, right? I mean, after some really big movies, you hit one of my favorites is Malibu's Most Wanted. I mean, I laugh hard at that, like I've never seen it. Every single time. Bruce Almighty, and it's funny you mentioned Universal because we just went last week and we did the studio tour, and they stop and they show you different sets and all that. So was your scene filmed there at Universal or was it elsewhere?
It was my scene was filmed in the back lot of Universal Studios, my actual scene. But a lot of that movie was filmed in a lot of different places. The Niagara Falls, up in Canada. They filmed some of it, I believe, in actual New York. I'm not sure. A lot of B-roll footage, but that I don't know the exact places because I just know where I was at when I filmed my part. But a lot of it, yes, was filmed in a lot of different places, not just one location.
Have you shot a lot at Universal Studios?
Yeah,
No.
I've been there a lot. I've done a lot of different things on the back lot there. Um, not lately, but back in the early days, I was on Universal quite a bit. So I trip out, when I go on the tram tours, I'm like, man, I used to be right there in that building, in that building. I auditioned in that building. But now, ever since COVID, it kind of changed the game. So now what they did during COVID was they did a lot of online interviews where you could just sit in the comfort of your own home like this, and you could do the audition, like this, like that. You could just record it yourself, send it in, and whatever. And so before that, you used to go on the studios, you used to go on the back lot of places and do all that. But ever since COVID, they switched it up and they have it now where you could do online auditions. And then, long story short, when COVID ended, they just kept it like that. So those days are over. So it sucks. It took a lot of fun out of it because back in the days when you would go to an audition, you would get excited to go in the back of Warner Brothers, the back of Paramount, the back of Universal Studios, all that. Now you can't do that no more unless you're only filming there. So it's a whole different game now. The game has changed majorly.
And going back a little bit, I heard a story about you about the Taco Bell commercial and kind of how you landed that. How you talked about being homeless and staying with the girl and that. So if you could just kind of touch on that real quick.
So the short story on that, man, is my parents left me at 13. I went from a middle class home to pretty much nothing but the clothes on my back, 500 in my pocket. For 2 years, I started hanging out with the wrong crowd, just wilding out, started gang banging, selling drugs, robbing houses, robbing cars, acting a fool, just doing what I had to do to survive. You know what I'm saying? That's how I kind of got into the street life. And then at 15, I meet this girl. And one day she asked me, she said, how come you always wear the same clothes and I never seen where you live? So I told her straight up, I said, I'm homeless. This is what it is. And her dad took me into her home. So I started living with this family who I didn't even know. Before that, I was sleeping in laundromats, donut stores. I went from friend's house to friend's house. But, when you ain't paying the bills at someone's house, your welcome's going to run out eventually. You know what I'm saying? And so I used to break into cars, sleep in the back seat. Like I did it all, man. Comfort's comfort, wherever I could get it. And then, long story short, I was living with this girl. She wanted to be an actress, not me. And one day she asked me to go to an acting class with her. And I was like, all right, cool, let's go. I never thought anyone like me could even be on TV. You know what I'm saying? I thought you have to have a college degree and like that. I wasn't thinking, but Hollywood will take anybody, bro. You could commit murder, do 25 years in life, can't get a job at Target, but they'll make you a movie star, pay you $1 million. Hollywood will take anybody. So long story short, I didn't know that then, but I found that out later. So long story short, I went to this acting class with this girl. She wanted to be an actress, not me. I went with her because I was living with her and whatever. I was like, yeah, let's go. I'm trying to keep a roof over my head, not get her upset and get kicked out of the house. So long story short, we go to this acting class, right place, right time. Never thought about acting a day in my life. There was a producer sitting in class, comes up to me after the class, says, you want to be in a Taco Bell commercial? I thought he was on some BS, whatever, whatever. I gave him my number, ended up being real. And at 15, I did a Taco Bell commercial, and that's where the career took off.
And how about one story, another one, man, that was kind of trippy to me, and I don't think people realize how people treat you differently, right? Like you were talking about the bank story. If you could share that one as far as people switched it up on you.
Um, Touch on that a little bit so I could get into that deeper. Like what happened now? Go back up 2 seconds and tell me one more time.
I guess you'd had an account, you've been banking at the same place, and then
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's kind of funny, man, because before acting took off, I used to work at Denny's, Olive Garden, Toys R Us, KB Toy Store. I worked at Kmart, Walmart, a place called Pizza Mania. Used to deliver pizzas, Burger King. I worked all over the place, right? I had a bunch of 9 to 5 jobs, and I was going to the same bank for 8 years. Same bank for 8 years. All of a sudden, I do Fast and Furious. Get my first biggest fattest check. That's Fast and Furious, just so we're clear. That's when I first got my fattest check in my whole life. Legitimately, it was the first time ever I got a fat check, legit. And all of a sudden, I'm going to the same bank for 8 years. All of a sudden, I go up to the teller, and I never forget it like it's yesterday. I go to cash my to deposit my check, and she goes, "You got a financial advisor?" I said, "Nah." She said, "You should go in the back and talk to a financial advisor." I said, "All right, cool." So I go in the back. President of the bank comes over, says, "Hey, how you doing, man? I just want to introduce myself. I'm the manager of the bank, And he goes, and he gave me a spiel. He goes, "This is the assistant manager of the bank," and they introduced me to everybody, like 3 different people. And then they give me their spiel for like 10 minutes. And I was sitting there and I was laughing, and I go, "You know what's funny?" I go, "I've been coming to this bank for 8 years, and not once have any of you ever come out to say what's up. And now all of a sudden I'm depositing a fat check, and now you all want to come out the woodworks and say what's up." I said, "All of you are fake ass mother effers." And I went off on them, and I was like, "You guys are some fake ass pieces of crap." And I went off, bro. I was in gangster mode at that time. And I said, "Man, deposit my stuff, man. I'm getting the hell out of here." And that's what happened. So it just kind of showed me, like, I never forget when I left the bank that day, I was like, "Oh, this is how it is. That's how people are." All right. And it was just a big lesson in my life where it taught me, like, that's why I say, man, I don't care if you're the one washing the windows on the building or own the building. I'm going to treat everybody with respect. And that's that. I don't care. No one's better than the other, blah, blah, blah. But it's just, it's just a funny world we live in, bro. And I got a taste of that. And I got to see a lot of both sides because of quote unquote the acting world. And that was one side that I saw, clear as day. And that's something that no one would ever know until you know, cash that type of money to know that. I don't know about nowadays, maybe nowadays it's different because they learned their lesson from a lot of experiences like that, maybe. But back then, that's what happened to me, and that's how the bank was. And I'm hoping slash assuming they changed their policies now or learn from that. But reason why a lot of this world is messed up is because we have quantity over quality.
right.
But don't get me in that story, bro, because we'll be here another 3 hours.
You're absolutely right. And another thing is like the roles. You've already cemented yourself, for your own legacy. So many years. I mean, what probably up to what 30 now? 30 years in the industry.
Yeah, about over 30 years in the business strong. Yeah.
Over 200 something, maybe 300 credits to your name. Have you ever stopped and like taken a step back and thought like, wow, look what I've been able to do. I paved my own way because a lot of people, the longevity, I think, is what points out to me, and not a lot of people can hang their hat on that.
It's kind of funny. And sorry that I'm driving, bro. I want to apologize to you for that because I was meant to be parked, and today got screwed up, man. My business, I tell people like this in my business: if I get notice, I'm lucky. My business is a last minute thing. Like I gotta get up and go, and I gotta be there and there, and I sometimes, very rarely, do I get notice. And at the same time that I had the podcast with you today, I got a call for something else that I got to do, and I'm on my way to Hollywood right now to do it. And I got caught up in that mess, and I was like, "Oh my God, I got to do this while I'm driving." So I just wanted to apologize to you for that. You know what I'm saying? Because if this didn't happen, I would be parked and I'd be talking to you like that. But this came up, and there was just no way I could dodge it. To keep my word to you at the same time, it had to go down like this, or it just didn't go down at all. And I'd have to, like, you know what I'm saying?
No, I
So I
understand
just
completely.
so I just want to apologize, bro. But that's just Hector keeping it fast and the furious, bro. You do a podcast with Hector, it's gonna be in a ride, homie. You know what I mean? We're gonna ride, dog. You want to ride? Let's ride. Um, but what was your question again, real quick? Because I lost you for two
Just about the
seconds.
longevity that you know, 30 years.
Oh yeah, so here's my thing, bro. I learned something in life, and this is what I learned in life. How old are you, brother, real quick? If you
I'm
don't mind.
34.
Here's something in life that I learned, man. If you're one of these people, if you're one of these people, hey, I'm sorry I forgot that email. And I'm sorry I showed up, late like I did. My bad. I'm sorry that I forgot that fax. I'm sorry that I forgot to deliver that package for you. I'm sorry that I forgot to make that call. You know what you end up becoming? You're just a sorry worker. And no one wants to work with sorry workers. They want to work with problem solvers.
Mhm.
So, long story short, I tell people, it's such a quote unquote cliche when people say, don't give up and keep on pushing forward and all that. And yes, that's 100% true. Never give up and keep pushing forward. Yes, 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 yes. But you got to tag something on that. So, my whole point of what I'm saying is, I think the reason why I've been able to work as long as I've been working and as long as I have stayed working is because I'm a person of integrity. I'm a man of my word. If I tell you I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be there. If I tell you I'm gonna do something, I do it. And when you're a person of integrity and you're actually someone who just does what you say, people want to do favors for you. They want to hook you up because they know they can rely on you. They know, like, oh man, whenever that guy says something, he's good. He's good to go. I don't even question it. And so I think, in all honesty, that's part of it, man, because whenever I've had to show up to do an acting job, I've always been there on time, knowing my lines, ready to go. And, I'm there. So I think that plays a big part in it, to where, people are just like, damn, man, like that dude keeps his word and does what he says he's going to do. And keep a good, clean reputation in the business. And like I said, people just want to hire you and do favors for you and keep you working. And so I honestly think that's what kept me going, bro. Like the Energizer Bunny. Just be a man of your word. If you can't do something, just say straight up, I can't do it, and don't do it. That's it. But don't try to be a people pleaser, because you're gonna be one of them cats. You ain't gonna please nobody.
You know what? And that's in life. You know, I hope people tune in and listen to that. You know, you don't have to be in Hollywood or anything big to be a man of your word and keep your promises and do the right thing. But that's funny. That leads me into kind of a segue. You know, you call it Hollywood, and I know there's a lot of distractions and um, I know a lot of people start out with the right intentions, right, early on, and then somewhere they drift, and I don't know if it's they lose their faith. But what do you think about, what happens as far as when people kind of dip below, or they were starting out here, maybe God was center of their life, and then for whatever reason, they take a dip.
They just lost their way, and they didn't stay focused on God. Um, a lot of people, it's like, oh, what was I going to tell you? It's like when It's like when Jesus was fasting for the 40 days in the forest without water and food, and the first person who came up to him was Satan. And he said, "Turn this rock into bread." And Jesus said, I can't do that. And the devil was like, what do you mean you can't do it? What's wrong? It's just turning the rock into bread. It ain't nothing bad. Like, just you're hungry, you haven't ate for 40 days, you haven't drank for 40 days. It's not a problem. Just turn this rock into bread and just eat a little something. And Jesus's words were, because I cannot use my power in this way because it is not written by my Father. So the bottom line is, if it wasn't written by God, it's not God. So my point in saying that is that I think a lot of people get into Hollywood and they lose their way. They lose their focus on God. They get tempted by the devil and they give into it. They get offered, $1 million contracts, the world pretty much, fame and everything else, and they, fall off. And, it is what it is. Some people give into the temptation and some people don't give into the temptation. There's also a lot of people, and this is all individual things, because one individual might do this, but one individual might do that. One might fall off, one might not fall off. So, we're speaking generally about everybody in every situation and, blah, blah, like that. But my point is that, to answer your question, for the people who do fall off and fall into the temptation of everything that they're offered / could be given and so on, I just gotta pray for them to come back. And one thing that I've learned is, like, if someone leaves the church, don't go chase them and do all that or whatever, because what I got to do is just trust the God inside of them to bring them back on their own. You know what I mean? And so my point is when someone loses their way, knowing God before they lost their way, I just got to trust that the Jesus inside of them is stronger than whatever it is that took them away from Jesus to bring them back. Because we don't know. Someone might be lucky and live a whole life of sin, but in their last minutes of their breath might just repent and ask for forgiveness and believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross. And sometimes it's like, damn, like, that fool lived a whole life of sin, got away with it, and then the last teeny weepy seconds of his life went to heaven because he got the opportunity to do the sinner's prayer and believe and ask for forgiveness and went to heaven. And damn, I've been, you know, so it's just everyone's an individual case. You don't know
Right.
if someone, prayed in their head, and like, you don't know. And so, there's a lot to that, bro. It's a very hard question to answer directly, because my point is like, I just think that a lot of people lose their ways and take their focus off of God, their sight off of God. And I believe also that a lot of people get into the acting business for the wrong reasons. They jump into it from the starting to be famous and, act like they about it when they were never about it, just to be about it because they want the fame and they want the money to live. Because right now we're in a world that's losing the foundation of God, the word of God, that so many people are bending and giving in and backsliding and, giving into the temptation.
Amen. No, it's great advice, man. And you're 1,000% correct. I got a few more things for you. Also music, man. You're in the music video for Guilty Conscience. And then you ended up getting to fly out, right, and go to the VMAs, I think, with Eminem and Dr. Dre, and you were on stage as well.
And I got flown out to New York just to stand there. But it was Eminem and Dr. Dre, so I said, let's go. But yeah, I was a Guilty Conscience. That's the name of the song. Check it out. Meet Eddie, 23 years old, decides to rob a liquor store. And on his way in, he has a sudden change of heart. And then Dr. Dre and Slim come out of me. And so, yeah, to be a part of some of the big songs like that is a blessing. I was in the Nicki Jam video, Jenny Rivera video. I did a lot of video back in the day, some Cypress Hill stuff, all kinds of stuff, man. I just did, who did I do? Oh my God, forgot his name. I did a lot of big music videos, but I've been very blessed in my career to work here and work there, work on that and work on this. So, but yeah.
Always working. And what about like favorite? You know, if you ever stand back and look, like, is there something that really stood out to you that you've done? And I'm sure you're, proud of everything, but there's something you're like, man, I was in that. I did that.
It was a chance to show something completely different that I thought I could never do that I did. So to be a part of that was a true blessing because again, I got to show a whole different side from always like the quote unquote tough gangster side. So Bruce Almighty was a blessing to be a part of. This movie that I just did recently called Locksmith with Ryan Phillippe and Ving Rhames. It was a blessing to be a part of that film. This documentary that I'm doing, and yeah, some other stuff that you're going to see coming out soon because I believe that if no one gives you the opportunity, give the opportunity to yourself. And so that's why I started my production company to start giving myself some roles that have never been given to me that I'm going to start giving to myself to start playing different things so you guys could see me in a different light and be like, oh, okay, he could do more than just the gangster role because I can. I just never been given the opportunity really. So now I'm starting to, get those opportunities and kind of turn things around a little bit.
Would you say that that's coming with age, you know, that you've done something for a long time, so now you're trying to transition into, a more I don't want to say adult role, but just something different as opposed to the norm? Is that something that's coming with age for you?
Yeah, a little bit. When you get older, they throw different stuff at you because now you can't play the 20-year-old gangster no more. So I would say, as you get older, you still play the bad guy, but it's not considered like a street thug or whatever. Like you still do some, but I would say age is a part of it. As age happens, you do get offered different roles. Father role, counselor role, stuff like that. So but yeah, I would say age is a part of it, but not much, but a little bit. So on that one, I would say kind of like a 50-50.
Okay. Just a couple more for you and we'll get out of here. Is there anybody that you haven't worked with yet that you'd like to?
100%, man. I've been very blessed in my career to work with a lot of greats. I worked with Mel Gibson, Clint Eastwood, Robert De Niro, Denzel Washington, Jim Carrey. I worked with a lot of greats. I've been very blessed in my career, but there is one I would get a little like, oh my, Mel, I'd get a little like, oh my God, is Al Pacino. I
Oh
want to
man.
I want to get one in with Al Pacino, bro, to keep it 100 with you. So that's kind of a bucket list slash wish list. If I could get one in with him, I'm straight. I would consider my career a very good career.
And the thing about you too is like if anybody follows you on Instagram, you'll post a little behind the scenes, like a picture of you and somebody or a real distant picture, and you'll say, hey, can't say what this is about, but you'll know it when you see it. And I remember you were doing that for the mule, and I didn't even think about it. And then when the movie came out, I said, look, there he is. So there's nuggets there for everybody if you follow Noel on IG.
Yeah, follow me on my Instagram, Actor Noel G, one word, Actor Noel G, Actor Noel G. Give me a follow.
The last thing, man, is advice. You've been to our area a couple times, shout out to Pastor John. You've kind of seen it, it's small, but it's growing and growing. There's people everywhere. Everybody wants to do something. Like you said, if you want to act for the right reasons, right? Not just to be famous. So what advice would you give somebody that might want to be an actor?
Pretty much do your own thing on IG, TikTok, whatever. And you can do skits, you can flavor it up, you can make your own movies with the phone, you can edit. Like it's pretty much now a whole new game in the acting world. But actually, I do acting classes. So if you guys want some acting classes and want to learn how to get in the game, reach out to me personally and I teach you how to get in the game. I coach you. You're the student and I coach you how to win in the game, become an actor in the game, and get going in the game and start being an actor. Because I always ask people, do you want to learn how to act or do you want to be a working actor? And I teach people how to be a working actor. So I consider them the team and I'm the coach and I teach you how to win. But the advice that I would give, first and foremost is know that like my man said right here, if you get into the game, do it for the right reasons. Don't do it for fame. Uh, don't do it because you think it's a quick way to make money. Do it because you're passionate about it, and do it because that's something that you really want to be doing. Do it with a full heart and a full mindset, and know that you have to know how to take rejection because sometimes it might not be you. Acting is so crazy because sometimes they'll ask for a person for a certain type of role, but you're too short, you're too skinny, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too this, you're too that, you're too wide, you're too narrow. Whatever it is, you don't look like this, you should have looked like that, you should look more black than you are, more Latino than you are, more white than you are. Like there's always something. And so you just and don't ever change yourself, for a role. Just to give kind of a quick idea that like don't cut off your arm, to be the pirate because maybe the next role you're going out for might require both arms. That's why we got makeup and special effects. So a lot of people go out on a limb and they do some wild stuff to become the part, and that's cool, but do it within the boundaries of keeping yourself safe. Because again, I give the drastic measures so you get it, kind of picture it. Some people are like, "Oh, I'm going out for a pirate," and they, scar their face and they cut off their arm to do it. And it's like to look like a pirate, and it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. The next role that you're going out for might require you in a suit and to look fresh. Now you can't
Right.
do it because you jacked yourself up for the pirate role. Like, so just be smart, use wisdom. You know what I mean? You just give such a drastic example so they understand and get it. That's why we got again special effects and makeup artists. But I would say this last thing. It took me 8 years to get my first film. So if I would have quit it in that 7th year, where would I be today? If I would have thrown in the towel, say it's too hard, I give up, it's not happening, I'm done, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. It took me 8 years to get my first film. It was no walk in the park. So long story short, I tell people like this. The only way you can fail in life is if you quit in life. If you never quit, you're never gonna fail. Whether it takes 8 years, 10 years, 15 years, you can make your dream a reality. Just be a person of integrity. And I tell people this too. You know what the stupidest question is? The stupidest question is the one that you don't ask. If you don't know something, ask it. Even God says, ask. You have not because you ask not. So I'm just here to tell you, if you don't know something, ask, dig a little bit, take chances, take risks in life. Be a go-getter, have the gift of gab, learn how to talk to all different types of people so you can ask, this, that, and the other. How'd you get into the game by doing this? How do you do this? What are your thoughts about that? Take as much information as you can in so you could work it out to make it a reality and make your dream a reality, And so I would just encourage anybody, to go after it and make it happen for yourself because it's out there for you and anybody can do it. It's just how bad do you want it? So that's why I tell people straight up, straight out, man. The only way you can fail in life is if you quit in life. If you never quit, you're never going to fail, no matter how long it takes. Just keep going and be that person of integrity. And people want to do favors for you. And when you're that person, that's what gets you farther in life than anything else. So that's the advice I would give, man. And the last thing I would say is put Jesus Christ first in everything you do. Nowadays, we're losing the discipline of God, the word of God, the foundation of God. And I just say it like this. I'd rather be in the fight with God on my side than without God on my side. You feel what I'm saying?
Amen. Well, Noel, man, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. I know you're moving up and moving. It's been great. This will help a lot of people, man. And you're an inspiration. Appreciate just watching your work, over so many years. It's incredible, man. So God bless you and hope the best for you moving forward.
A lot of love, man. So I'm gonna say these last words. Instead of keeping it gangster, keep it Godster. And that's what's up, man. So much love. Follow me on my Instagram, Actor Noel G, man. Continue supporting this man. Follow his podcast. Continue watching his podcast. Continue subscribing to his podcast. This guy got more heat coming for you, more guests coming for you, and he can't wait for you to see it. I can't wait to see it. And when we coming at you, We coming at you guys fast and furious style. So let's go.